Nobody can stop talking about the meeting in London with King Charles's aide and Meghan and Harry's aides. The drama seems to just be snowballing. Everybody's wondering about the betrayal King Charles must feel, that it once again was leaked, and that Harry and Meghan are lying, that they weren't the ones to leak it. At least that's the current popular belief, that they were the ones to leak it. But there's more to the story as well, and that has to do with the wider family at large, who all felt betrayed by Harry and Meghan's actions, and also the timing, once again, super conspicuous and weird. The pictures of this meeting were taken about 4 days before it actually hit the press, just as we were treated to 2 days of the beautiful Catherine, Princess of Wales, at Wimbledon. We had these conspicuous leaks of the meeting between King Charles's aide and 2 of Harry and Meghan's, which, let me just say, I refuse to buy into, or rather support, the Sussex delusions that it was a household, that these staff are their household, the head of their household. He hath no household. He's just a guy. So his staff are just his staff. Aides at best, but not head of household. That is silly. That is foolish. I won't play the game. He can play pretend all he wants that he's still royal or that he's setting up his own royal group of staff, but he's not. So why on earth would we be using the same verbiage when we are discussing Harry's staff as we do when we are discussing royal staff? We shouldn't be. They're not working royals, and so this is not a household. They're just staff to an infamous whiner. Anyway, the fact that the leak occurred right on time for the Waleses to make an appearance feels very Meghan, doesn't it? It feels very much straight out of the Meg's playbook, to try to sour what would otherwise be lovely headlines for anyone but herself. The timing almost highlighted the fact that William didn't send any staff, and was apparently not involved at all. And some outlets are reporting that he may not have even been aware of the meeting. It is believed that Prince William has never attempted to or advised King Charles against opening communications with Harry or reaching out or anything like that. But rather, Prince William has made it clear that he prefers to not get involved with anything connected to Harry, and that sources close to William say that he simply doesn't speak about Harry at all, doesn't think about Harry, and is keen to keep distance from Harry and Meghan for the foreseeable future. One source quoted, "William will never, ever forgive Harry for what he has done, and that reconciliation is not on the table for William and his family at this time," which is a good move for a lot of reasons. I think everybody is firmly on the Wales' side and understands completely and supports William in this, because it seems like the right thing to do. When you have a toxic family member who is always spinning things and always manipulating and doing weird, shady stuff behind the scenes, it's impossible to keep that in your life and maintain any degree of peace. There is no reason for William to subject himself or his family to any connection or communication with Harry or Meghan. Plus, as the future king, it's seen as a show of strength for William to keep a firm boundary where trust has been breached. Will and Catherine are very private and have their children's futures to consider. Letting people like Harry and Meghan near their family circle would be beyond challenging. It would be irresponsible. Reports that William didn't know anything about this, I find hard to believe. Unless, of course, it was some sort of a last-minute gathering set up by Meredith, which does have a little bit of merit. That could totally be the case. Perhaps she reached out and the meeting was quickly organized the day of, and the fact that it was near Clarence's house lends itself to this theory, and it allows time to tip off the press without the press having time to reach out to the palace for confirmation, which would then reveal who leaked it to the press and that it had been leaked to the press before the meetings had a chance to take place. So that would be super sneaky, but that theory does hold up and is a total possibility. But I think that William was informed ahead of time. I think that Charles has made it clear of his loyalty and support towards William and Catherine, and therefore it would not make sense for his team to purposefully hide this meeting from the Waleses. It does, however, make complete sense for William to stay out of it. He wants nothing to do with Harry, and according to palace insiders, has requested that they never be involved in official royal duties or events from formal to casual, and that King Charles is inclined to respect those wishes to not make things more difficult on Prince William and Princess Catherine, now or in the future. Which means no matter how hard Harry tries to weasel his way back into the fold for whatever reason, no matter the motivation. There is no parades, no Remembrance Day, no Christmases at Sandringham Walk, no Ascot, no nothing for the Sussexes, not even a garden party. But a private relationship with the king is a totally different story. That doesn't need to involve William or the monarchy directly in general. That can be private, and that can stay in its lane, so to speak, and sort of avoid the Waleses altogether, which William allegedly supports for the king, respecting his wishes as a father and understanding that there is always going to be a desire for Charles, the warm-hearted father that he is, who cares for both of his children, to want to at least have open communication with his son. But that is as far as it needs to go, and it seems like as far as everybody is willing to allow it to go. Another benefit to William staying completely out of it sits firmly on the PR side of things. Quite smart move, actually. William and Catherine had been targeted by the Sussexes repeatedly over the last 6 years or so. Even before that, it seemed like Meghan had scapegoated Catherine within the royal family and started to pick on her even before the wedding. So by keeping a great deal of distance between anything Sussex involved and the Waleses, so much distance that some sources don't even believe that they knew about the meeting ahead of time, means that their hands are undeniably clean. Harry and Meghan cannot try to spin any sort of stories or place any sort of blame on the Waleses if things don't work out between Harry and the king, if things fall apart, if there is no reconciliation, if Harry doesn't get his way. He cannot direct his tantrums towards William or his family for meddling or influencing the king's decisions. Just like he tried to do with the Queen and say, I need to make sure the right types of people are around the Queen. By William and Catherine keeping completely out of it, to the extent that people think they didn't even know this was going to happen, which, as I said, I don't think that's true. But the fact that that impression is out there, that they have so much distance, that it's as if they don't even know what's going to be happening when it comes to the Sussexes, means there is no chance for Harry to try to put any sort of innuendos out there or any sort of blame towards the Waleses at all, and has no reason to comment on them ever again in the future either. It's sort of like taking away or withholding ammunition from Harry and Meghan, that they aren't going to even allow Harry and Meghan the opportunity to put the name of Catherine or William in their mouths for any reason whatsoever. So this is lots better for William and for the king. It creates a clear separation that while Harry and Meghan may still be rolling around in the mud using drama and familial ties for PR gains or even for content, the Waleses are entirely removed from that. There's zero crossover. William and his family are protected and insulated from any of those stories. So it's really smart as well from a public image perspective, especially when you're dealing with people who lie so much and leak everything to the press. Harry and Meghan cannot be trusted to not throw out crazy insider details that at the very least would be annoying and a distraction from the Waleses' work, but at worst could be yet another stressful lie to endure. And it also allows the story to remain firmly in the this is a father and his son sort of a situation, so that any sort of public speculation about, is Harry being let into the fold or whatever, can be shut down quickly and easily. As we mentioned in a previous video, it's much more likely that this did have to do with a certain degree of logistics and pre-planning and talking about how they were going to present to the media the fact that the royals will probably show up at the Birmingham Invictus Games in a long time from now. But on every level, it is the complete right move for William to keep himself and his family very, very distant from the Harry narrative altogether. Even though it was immature and disappointing for the meeting to have been leaked at all, once again, on a day where there was something significant going on with the Wales' family, it's no coincidence at this point, it's still the right move. Even if it does seem, a little bit of stirring, of raising eyebrows of, oh my gosh, did William even know? That's better speculation to have out there and let people run their mouths about that than it is to be sucked into this drama in any sort of capacity. But let's end on a high note and take a look at Catherine, Princess of Wales's outfits at Wimbledon, which were fantastic. She looked so beautiful. When she attended the Wimbledon ladies finals, she wore a white dress believed to be by self-portrait with a woven handbag and suede slingback heels. The belted ensemble highlighted her beautiful figure and waistline here. creating a wonderful silhouette with the flowy skirt being perfect for summer, looking nice and airy and light and probably helping keep cool. The short sleeves are a smart move when it's hot like this, but they also, because it's paired up with this blazer and the high collar, keep a degree of formality. It doesn't look too casual at all. The slightly longer structure to the top is very complementary and balancing to her figure overall. This nice monochrome look is a very streamlined, very, very beautiful option here, and played into the perfect balance between that soft, flowy skirt and the more structured top to not look too stiff or too cash, and it just came off perfectly balanced and beautiful. And this particular outfit with the slightly higher collar would have looked just as great with her hair up as it did with her hair down. As you notice, she has her hair back behind her shoulders here, which allows it to not feel overwhelming and closed in. When you have a little bit of a high collar, a little bit like a banded collar here, it can make things feel a little cluttered or heavy when you have your hair over your shoulders. So it was smart of her to keep her hair back, and she could have had a ponytail. It would have looked just as great as well. So I haven't been able to find the exact dress on Self Portrait's website, but they have made custom pieces for Catherine before. So it's totally possible that this is yet another custom piece for her. But it's a very similar to the lime green midi that she wore to Wimbledon in 2023. Very, very similar with the light flowy midi skirt and the short-sleeved blazer-style top here. This one, of course, has a smaller belt and a slightly different collar here. The collar on this lime green one was a little bit heavier, a little bit chunkier, so I'm glad she had her hair tied back to bring a little balance there. And the belt was thinner. I think I like the slightly thicker belt because she has a longer torso, so her waist nips in for quite some degree of time. She has a very well-defined waist, so she can get away with a thicker, chunkier belt to really highlight that asset when it comes to her silhouette. Then she wore this cobalt blue dress for the men's final, alongside her family, of course. Super cute. Princess Charlotte, Prince George, and Prince William attended with her. It would be a long time for Prince Louis to have to sit still. Playing into that waist definition, if you have a well-defined waist, use it. You might as well. Once again, a nice streamlined monochrome look here with the diagonal seam across the front. It's adding a little bit of curve visually. So it's bringing a little bit of balance to her hip, widening that area a little bit, making the skirt look a little fuller. And this accent here on the shoulder, bringing a little asymmetry, is always pleasing to the eye. And it balances perfectly with that asymmetrical seam down the front. And the V-neck is a nice way to keep this area a little bit more open, especially when she has her hair down. But like I said, she looked great with her hair in a ponytail for either of these outfits that she wore to Wimbledon. Both are great choices. I really like the hat that she wore. The UK's been having a heat wave, so I think it was a smart option to bring along a sun hat just in case. And I love that William, Charlotte, and George all match also with their darker blues, creams. Really, really cute. Look all polished and perfect as a family, staying within the same color scheme without having to be too matchy-matchy. Very classy, very beautiful. The belt is super smart for Catherine. Like I said, it plays into that wonderful asset of a well-defined waist. You might as well use it. Also, since she is so tall and has a longer torso, breaking it up just a tad, even with a monochrome belt, is always going to be a smart move. Having a little bit of embellishment with that bow detail, that asymmetry, adds movement, adds a focal point there by the face. It's especially useful if you have a monochrome dress that doesn't have any other sort of color variations or things to catch the eye. Kind of gives the eye a spot to anchor, and it also allows her the opportunity to then remove the bow at a later time and sort of give the dress a bit of an update here. It also looks like she changed the neckline just a tad, sort of morphing, it looks like, according to this website's research, morphing these two dresses, kind of creating something new and custom here. I also appreciate the fact that this was changed to be an even hemline rather than a sort of handkerchief or asymmetrical hemline. I really don't like those very much. I prefer a straight hemline. I think that's a good choice. It just creates a more polished effect. It looks more sleek, and it doesn't create a focal point of the hemline of the dress. When you have an uneven hemline, like a handkerchief hemline or an asymmetrical hemline, it draws the eye to that area. And sometimes, that's not where you want the eye to go for whatever reason. Like, for example, Meghan Markle had a handkerchief hemline a handful of times, and it just drew the eye to very thin, spindly looking ankles, and the fact that she wore shoes that were about a size too big looked kind of silly and a little bit dorky even, and awkward. Definitely looked awkward. And so it just looks more polished, more streamlined, and allows the rest of the dress and even just that V-neck area, drawing the eye up to the face, to be the focal point of the outfit overall, rather than the hemline becoming a focal point. But we'll have more fashion editions coming up to take a look at what she wore to the French state visit, so be sure you're subscribed so you do not miss it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I'll see you next time. Bye!